how do you do and how often do you do a gear check before a jump? Well, here's a video about how to perform a good gear check every time. Hey, this is Catherine Bernier from Skydive Vibes, sharing the passion of skydiving and helping you become a better skydiver. So if you're a skydiver or looking to become one, consider subscribing not to miss any of my videos. In today's video, I want to go over how to do a good gear check because it's very important to do so before every jump. So in this video, I'm going to go over how I personally do it with my own equipment. It's very important that when in doubt, you get in touch with a rigger or a certified instructor to help you verify the elements on your equipment. Also, your equipment might differ from mine, so you want to make sure to double verify everything with your manufacturer manual as well, so you are conform to their requirements. That being said, let me show you how I do it, and I'm going to give you some tricks to never fail it. So there are many ways and different tricks to make you remember how to do a good gear check, whether it's by going front to back, top to bottom, that's an example, or doing the 3x3 verification. But amongst all those tricks, the main one that is very, very important is do it always the same way. So however you're used to do your gear check, just do it always the same way. This is how you're going to create a habit to do so, and this is how you're going to better recognize any change in your equipment. So this is a good way to be safe. Do it always the same way. That being said, here's my own equipment, so the Vector 3. So I'm going to do the gear check as I do it. Again, if you have any doubts on your own way to do a gear check, always double verify with a certified instructor or a rigger, and also verify your equipment manufacturer's recommendations, because the equipments will change alongside which manufacturers you're with. So it's important to verify their recommendation and keep in touch with their updates so that you can keep yourself up to date with the best practices for your equipment. So let's dive into how I do my gear check. Alright, so first I usually start at the top here with my 3-ring systems. So what you want to verify with those is that the 3 rings are placed in the right position, where the smallest would go into the medium one and the medium one would slip through the bigger one in case of a release. So I want to verify that this is good. Then if you have an RSL system, you want to make sure it's attached properly without anything in between, avoiding it to do its job. Then behind, I want to make sure the cable, the yellow cable, is passed through the right way as well. And I also want to check for any kind of special wear on the loop here. Next, I go over the other side and I do the same thing, the small, the medium, the big, then the cable, and then the loop. Once that's done, I go further down. Next thing is the chest strap. So what I want to do is simply look for unusual wear on it. Let's see if everything's okay. Then I have the 2 handles here. I want to make sure they are attached properly to the rig, both sides. Then also I can check the cables here if they are in the right shape and right position. Next thing, the leg straps. So here again, I just want to check for general wear, especially in case of rough landings. Then what I want to check also is if my buckles there are assembled the right way so that they will do their job. So the best way to verify them really quickly is simply to think about tissue, metal tissue. So that way you know they're gonna lock whenever you're sitting in your rig. Same thing the other side here. Tissue, metal tissue. And same thing will apply when we put our rig on with the chest straps here. Once that's done, I'm turning it around. Then I start again at the top. Here it's the reserve flap. So what I want to check here, it's the reserve pin. Make sure it has enough length into the loop here. I want to check the loop also to see what its condition is. Then this is a certification from my rigger whenever he packed my reserve parachute. That might be important, especially if you're visiting other drop zones. Then I can check the cable of my handle here to see if it's working well. Then this is the RSL cable. Again, I want to make sure nothing can be in the way of preventing it from functioning the right way. The next thing I need to verify here is my AAD, so my computer. If I were to jump my rig, which is not the case right now, I would open my AAD and make sure it's open before putting my equipment on me. So when that's done, closing it, and I'm going downward to the pin here. So that's my main parachute. What I want to see actually is that if the bridle here is going through up to my handles up to my handle at the bottom the right way. I don't want it to be going around a flap or anything. I don't want any obstruction. So here's a good verification to do, just to pull it out a little bit. And also I want to make sure that my pin here is inserted properly. And that it's usually they say it needs to make a smile. That's a little trick they give us, but I want to make sure that it is inserted long enough. And again, the closing loop here, I need to make sure it's not overwear. This is the window to know if my pilot chute is cocked, and that's a good verification to do also. You want to make sure you see the color here. So everything looks good, and you might have seen in some other manufacturer recommendations or some updates we've seen recently that they also sometimes recommend that you pass from the bottom instead of from the top. That's another way to do it, as long as nothing can interfere in the good functioning of your pin system. That's good. Again, always double verify with your manufacturer recommendation or a rigger or a certified instructor. So that being said, everything's good here. So my bridle was coming down here, and this is my main handle. So what I want to verify is that it's placed the right way. Here I need to make sure it's inserted that way, as well as that my pilot chute is in the pocket properly. Sometimes you want to make sure there's not much of the pilot chute that can be seen for wear or any unwanted pulling. And here I want to make sure my pocket is in right condition also, and make sure it has a nice shape so that it doesn't interfere with anything. Once that's done, I'm ready to put my equipment on. Alright, so I hope you liked it. So I want to ask you a question now, because we need to do that gear check many times before a jump. So how often do you think before every jump we need to do a gear check? Well, the answer is 3 times. So you want to make sure you do it before putting your equipment on, just like we did. You also want the second time to do it is when you're in the boarding area. Before boarding the plane, you want to verify your front and also ask someone to verify the back of your equipment to make sure your pins are again set properly, and have a second opinion on your gear check. And the last thing you want to do is just in the plane before jumping out, you want someone to verify again your equipment, because in the plane we are often really tight and rubbing against each other. So we want to first protect everything, especially our handles, and make sure that someone verify that everything is still in place before jumping out of the plane. Great. So again, make sure to, when in doubts, always verify with a certified instructor, a rigger, or with your manufacturer's recommendation. I'm going to put some links in the description below, especially for the USPA skydiving instruction manual, so that you can have some reference there. Alright, so thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed that video. Before leaving, let me know in the comments below what is your trick to perform a good gear check before your jumps, and also consider subscribing not to miss any other videos like that, or just to have access to some sick skydiving videos. So on that, I tell you, stay safe and blue skies.